Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Embedded Solutions for the Next Generation of Medical Imaging Devices. I'm Jim Hammerand, the Managing Editor of Medical Design and Outsourcing. Thanks so much for joining us today. I've got a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. First off, we're going to make a recording of this webinar available for on-demand replay at our website. That's medicaldesignandoutsourcing.com. So just go to our homepage, find the navigation bar, look for the MedTech resources, and you'll see a link to our webinars page. Next, while you're looking at your screen right now, you should see a variety of boxes that can be moved around and resized to meet your preferences. There are two boxes in particular that I'd like to note. First, there's a resources box where we have downloadable slides from today's presentation, as well as an ebook. And the other box I want to call out is the Q&A box. We are scheduled to hold a Q&A session at the end of this webinar, but you don't have to wait until then. You can feel free to ask your questions as they come to you during the presentation. They're not going to pop up on the presentation or anything like that. They just show up on my end, and when I ask the questions, I don't share with the audience who they're from, so please don't be shy. If you are watching this webinar on demand, you can still submit your questions, and our presenters will get back to you. And finally, if you have any technical issues during our webinar, first try refreshing your browser. And if the problem persists, reach out to us through that Q&A box. Again, the audience isn't going to see your SOS. It's just going to be me and my team, so we'll help you get back on track. Now I'd like to thank today's webinar sponsor, Advantech, for making this possible. And please allow me to introduce today's speakers, all of whom are product managers at Advantech. First, we've got Jason Yang, who's primarily focused on x86 embedded single board computers and computer and module solutions. Let's also welcome Corey Leonard, who supports embedded motherboards, single board computers, system on module, and application-focused embedded systems. Next, we've got Shirin Safudin, who's primarily focused on the Edge AI product portfolio with experience developing AI software solutions. And finally, let's welcome Eunice Chen, who's primarily focused on ARM-based solutions, industrial display, and wireless module peripherals. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Corey. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much for the introduction. And so today I wanted to take some time to talk to you guys a little bit about GPU solutions in medical imaging devices and in medical applications generally. So, and kind of how Advantech supports that type of market and that need. So if you're not familiar with GPUs and their architecture, so GPUs are a much more simple kind of architecture. They build in a lot more cores than something like a CPU. So for something that's a lot more massively parallel, having upwards of 15 or 20,000 cores to throw at a task versus, even the largest CPUs are only up to 128. So that gives you some really great advantages for parallelized applications. Also, CPUs typically have a little bit of a narrower memory bus, so for visual processing, GPUs are definitely very well suited. GPUs are also broadly available, so you can find them just off the shelf at just about any location, any computer store, and you can use them across a wide variety of operating systems and platforms. So it doesn't matter which CPU you're using, Intel or AMD or Windows or Linux, you have drivers, you have compatibility off the shelf. Beyond that, GPUs, also relatively new emerging technology with GPUs is the concept of general purpose graphics processing units, or GPGPU. So you guys are probably familiar with NVIDIA CUDA. That's one of the most popular GPGPU APIs on the market. And so what that allows you to do is leverage what's typically a processor-oriented specifically for graphics to be able to leverage that to a lot of different other applications. So this also makes it a lot easier because these are off-the-shelf components and they have API support. It makes it a lot easier to program versus something like an FPGA, which also gets you the advantages of having more cores or more gates to do more massively parallel operations. But of course, being just simple programming, you don't need quite as much resources to actually develop, implement, and to launch to market versus something like an FPGA. All right. And then as far as the applications where you use GPUs in medical imaging, so and the kind of degree of hardware that you're going to need, it's going to vary depending on the application. So starting from the top at the very highest level of systems, so where we might see 4 GPUs, a single slot, just to get the density as high as possible. You would use that for something like generative AI applications or for model training as well. So if you're looking to develop or tune your model, you're looking to have something constantly adjust, you would need something with that kind of power. And of course, Advantech has platforms that do support that. Beyond that, for high precision inferencing applications, so this you might actually see more in like MRI applications or X-ray or anywhere where you're working with really high, large size images that are often raw data. You might do some inferencing operations. So you'll take some of that imaging in, you'll reference that or cross-reference that with some known images of what maybe an anomaly looks like, and you can use that to help the doctor, use that to help the radiology technician achieve results in a faster manner or more precise. Beyond that, for more real-time edge inferencing, so for different kind of applications, you might just use a single GPU, but you might also leverage the capabilities of your platform to add some additional inputs on there. So for example, you might have some PoE cards. So if you're running some data in from cameras, or if you wanted to have some kind of feed going into the system and then do some inferencing in real time on that camera feed that's coming in, that's kind of the system that you would use. And then, of course, for more basic applications, some of these systems, they do have GPUs on board with the CPU for some of the more workstation and consumer-based systems. In those cases, you can actually just use your PCI Express or your expansion to add data acquisition modules. So if you're working with something that's a little bit lower bandwidth, or even in like test and measurement or with diagnostics in a medical environment, you might need a lot of low bandwidth inputs into the CPU. That's where you'd use that. Okay. As far as how Advantech ourselves supports Edge AI, so there's actually quite a wide array of different solutions, and it depends on the application that you're doing and how complex the imaging is going to be. So, for lower end, for basic inferencing, we have some of our ARM-based systems, some of our Intel Atom-based systems as well. So you can see those are a little bit lower in performance, but great for really basic inferencing applications. Moving beyond that, we also do a lot with MXM GPUs. For stuff that also needs to be really compact and easily integrated into any type of device, or maybe even portable medical devices, we do have systems that are well optimized for those. And then, of course, if you need to get into all the way up into the big generative AI or intense training models, then we have some higher end products as well, which are building on server grade CPU solutions. All right. And just to kind of give you guys a real world example. So this is really, and it gives you an idea of what a GPU looks like inside of a medical imaging scenario. So specifically this one here, I'm showing an endoscopic system. So this is actually a program that we're working with real customers now. So they're using a single board computer designed by us. So that one has interfaces to build in video capture. We also add support for wireless and additional SDVoE, or software-defined video over Ethernet. So that allows this to take in the data feed. You can process that, digitize it. You can send it to a server for local storage. You can also display it at the same time to an observation room, and of course to whoever is running the endoscopic exam. Beyond that, this system, so it's unique with this. So we do bundle a GPU with this endoscopic system, but we're using an MXM variety. And this being a single board computer where the size is very small, and we don't actually have the physical space to put a full by 16 slot for a big GPU, we do have Thunderbolt 4 support. So that allows you to pretty easily relocate your GPU, move it wherever you need to, keep it close to components that need the data, or even to optimize around electromagnetic interference as well for these type of environments. And so the way that this system is working, so of course you're doing the video capture through the video capture card on there, but then the system is also doing some processing over the top using the MXM GPU, so performing some processes like anomaly detection. Okay. And also another successful story for us here. So ultrasound is another area where GPUs are really popular. So Customers traditionally would use something like an FPGA to do the beamforming. So they'll take in the raw ultrasound data, they'll do some digital signal processing, and then that'll go back to the CPU to be computed into an image. But with GPUs, so you can actually simplify that FPGA portion. So you can shrink it down, you can use a smaller, less complex, and also less costly component. And then use that to just perform some basic functions and then directly pass that data to the GPU to finish the processing. So the GPU can finish processing. It can also do anomaly detection, as we mentioned before, and any other type of post-processing work to prepare it for delivering to the screen. So this is actually another real-world example of systems that we've put into the field and customers that we work with. So yeah, very popular from us. And finally, I'll wrap it up here with another example of a real-world case where we've done some medical imaging with GPUs. So this is one of our later platforms based on the newest 13th or 14th generation Intel processors. So we have a PCI Express Gen 5 graphics card in there. We're running dual 4K displays. And then, of course, we have lots of USB gigabit inputs to be able to process the rest of the information and display out to the technician and to the patient. So you can see, I won't go through the full list here, but some of the highlights that our customers found when working with our platforms in this scenario. All right. And that covers it for my slides. I'll go ahead and turn it over to the next presenter. Thank you.
Our next presenter, Jason, I think you might be muted.
Okay. Good afternoon and good morning, everyone.
We've got you now. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
We can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Sorry, technical difficulties. All right. This is Jason Yang, and I will be discussing with you guys COM-HPC and AMD EPYC applications for medical imaging. Okay. So we had a pretty broad attendee list. So I'm going to start off with a kind of brief general introduction to system on module technology for those that might not be familiar. Recently I stopped by a major medical hardware manufacturer to which we were selling single board computers, so 3.5-inch SBCs. And I was surprised to see that they were actually not familiar with system on module technology at all. So I figured I would share with you guys the benefits of it. So essentially, it's system on module or COM, computer on module. It's breaking off the compute from the I/O portion of the motherboard. So it's not just the motherboard, we're taking the compute portion off of it, okay? There's two commonly seen committees in charge of like the different standards for system on modules. So there's PICMIG and then there's SGET. So PICMIG is going to be responsible for your COM-HPC and your COM-Express standard. And then SGET will be responsible for SMARC and Q7 standards. Just so you guys know, Advantech is on both of these committees. Okay. So this SOM technology, you'll see it in higher end applications such as ultrasound, MRI, but also in smaller like portable analyzer devices. So you can put it potentially on like a medical, like a portable like battery powered medical cart. Okay. So not only in medical, but we're also seeing applications in mission critical, industrial automation, and retail. So one of the major benefits of applying SOM technology is that you can kind of buy the SOM from not only us, but you could potentially like dual source if you wanted to. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. So why would you want to apply SOM technology for medical imaging? Okay, so because it allows you to separate the compute from the rest of your board, it gives you the flexibility to upgrade the CPU without worrying about it's changing on you. Also, it allows you to control the design of the I/O fully so that you get exactly what you need. So let's see. So for example, if you don't need USB at all, you could just not design that into your carrier board. Okay, so with SOM, most manufacturers, they'll provide you a reference board with schematics that will help you get started, or you can potentially do a hybrid model where Advantech or someone could help you with your design, or you could kind of outsource it to us completely and just tell us exactly what you're looking for, and then we can kind of design it for you as needed. Okay. So since these SOMs are designed with industry specs in mind, as I mentioned, you can potentially dual source these like very easily. So a huge benefit here is that since FDA approval can often take many years, you want your system to last as long as possible for each possible component. So with embedded SKUs involving SOM, we have AMD and Intel industrial lifecycle products. So especially with Intel, you might see like 10 or 15-year lifecycle for some of these SOMs. So we're happy to help you with that if needed. We'll dive into the COM-HPC spec specifically. So the flexibility of COM-HPC allows it to be integrated applications. So the COM-HPC spec itself, it was ratified by the SGET committee in 2021. So it's still relatively new. But since then, it's been adopted by multiple manufacturers, including Advantech. So what you'll see with the COM-HPC platform is you'll see higher power, like server grade models, but you'll also see smaller, lower power client models that can be used, for example, on works is if you see here with COM-HPC, what they're applying is these 400 pin connectors to connect to the carrier board. Okay, so server grade CPUs, but also desktop workstation type CPUs. So I wanted to kind of go over the benefits briefly of the COM-HPC spec. So what you'll see here is that with applying COM-HPC, that's going to get you PCIe Gen 5, so up to 32 gigabits per second per lane. So that enables very high bandwidth transfer. So if your applications are using multiple FPGAs or high-end GPUs, COM-HPC can really help you out here. So in addition, I wanted to highlight that the COM-HPC spec, it gets you up to 8 LAN ports and USB 4.0, you get 40 gigabits per second of transfer. So you can potentially connect high-speed cameras or sensors. So briefly, I wanted to walk you through like an example of how COM-HPC can be very useful for 3D imaging machines. So as an example, MRI scanners, they generate very large amounts of raw data. So your system might use magnets and coils, then an RF system, some PLCs for like low-level control. But all of this data, it needs to be driven and then eventually converted to a usable form. So your FPGA accelerator, it might do some like digitizing, pre-processing work, and then the GPU is going to work with the CPU to do like cleaning, transform the data into a usable form. In some cases, you might apply machine learning to reduce noise or like detect artifacts. So in this example, you want to be on the cutting edge and you want to stay there. So COM-HPC can be applied. It'll give you the power and the I/O flexibility that you need. Okay. So with COM-HPC, you're going to see the PCIe, the Gen 5 bandwidth, and then also through COM-HPC design exactly the I/O that you need for connectors and like RAID storage devices, up to 8 LAN. They can do data transfer between. Okay, and then just very briefly, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but here's some of the common SOM form factors that you might run into. But I want you to keep in mind that the carrier board can be as large or as small as you want it, as long as the connectors line up, really. So let's see. In terms of what Advantech offers, we have COM-HPC already, modules available for A, C, and then server size D and E. Okay. And then real quick, I just wanted to show you a brief spec comparison between the limitations you might see between COM-HPC versus the older COM-Express platform. So I just wanted to highlight here that you can see here with COM-HPC, you're getting PCIe Gen 5 for your GPUs or any kind of high throughput applications. You get up to 8 25 gigabit LANs to communicate with other devices. And then you're getting the USB 4.0 potentially for high-speed cameras and other peripherals. Okay. Next, I wanted to briefly spend some time to kind of promote general awareness of AMD's EPYC platform. So with the EPYC 8004 series, which just launched this year, this is based on the AMD's Zen 4C architecture. So it's designed with power efficiency and a wide temp range in mind. In terms of Advantech, we will be launching a model based on EPYC 8004 in Q1 of next year. So with that model, you're going to see as few as 16 up to 64 cores, 6 channels of DDR5 up to 576 gigabytes, 65 or more PCIe lanes. Advantech spec actually has 79 lanes of PCIe, so probably more than you can potentially need even. And then I wanted to highlight that this EPYC 8004 also implements CXL technology, which I'll touch on briefly here. All right, so with CXL, basically it stands for Compute Express Link. So it's an open industry standard. So it kind of is created to address one problem that we're facing, especially in servers and high performance computing. Is that RAM is kind of serving as a bottleneck in some cases, and it's also very expensive. So with CXL technology, that enables us to bridge memory between the host, so the host and peripherals. So basically you can pull together all the memory and then kind of use it as a common memory address space. Okay, so this can help you increase performance, eliminate memory bottlenecks, and then especially for use cases where you're processing large amounts of raw data, for example, for medical images, this can help you kind of exceed the regular limitations that you might be running into. And then just so you know, Advantech offers this EPYC technology not only in the SOM form factor, but also in the industrial motherboard form factor. So here you can see a micro ATX based motherboard that utilizes EPYC, the 7000 series. So this model in particular is the AIMV 592. So it offers up to 64 cores for the CPU, up to 768 gigabytes of RAM, and then 4 PCIe by 16 Gen 4 slots. So you can potentially put in 2 double-decker GPU cards. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for your time, and I will hold for questions at the very end.
Sharon, are you're next? Okay, there we go. Just want to make sure you weren't muted.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon and I am the Embedded Edge AI Product Manager here at Advantech. Today I will go over Edge AI technology for medical imaging analysis, and without further ado, let's get started. So for today's agenda, I will start by highlighting what are the benefits of choosing edge systems or servers for medical imaging applications. I will then point out what the major differences between cloud technologies versus edge systems are. I will then briefly speak to some software capabilities to support the edge servers in medical imaging and walk through a couple example use cases to wrap us up. All right, let's get into it. So why edge systems and servers? Well, there are a range of benefits, including enhancing the efficiency, accuracy, and overall quality of patient care. Let's talk to a couple specific benefits. First, reduced latency and faster processing. Edge computing allows medical imaging data to be processed locally, close to where it's captured, for example, at the imaging device or within a local healthcare facility. This minimizes the delay involved in transmitting large medical images to remote data centers or cloud servers, enabling real-time analysis. Faster processing also means that diagnostic results can be available almost immediately, aiding clinicians in providing faster treatment and reducing wait times for patients. By processing medical images and data at the edge on local servers or devices, sensitive patient data doesn't have to travel across the internet to cloud servers, reducing exposure to potential cybersecurity risks, and ensuring compliance with strict healthcare policies, such as HIPAA in the United States or GDPR in the EU. For healthcare systems that must comply with regional data laws, edge computing can ensure that medical data stays within that jurisdiction, and this will prevent legal or regulatory issues associated with that cross-border data transfer. Finally, AI and machine learning integration at the edge. Medical imaging is increasingly augmented by AI algorithms for tasks such as image segmentation, anomaly detection, and diagnostic assistance. Edge systems can run AI models locally, reducing the need to send data to cloud servers for processing, and this will enable quicker feedback for clinicians. I will go into some deeper use cases towards the end, some examples where we can see this in real time. Machine learning models can also be tailored or optimized for specific local contexts or patient populations at the edge. So this will improve diagnostic accuracy and outcomes without overburdening those central servers. In emergency situations such as trauma or stroke, the ability to quickly process medical images and make instant decisions can be life-saving. So edge computing essentially helps us to ensure that imaging results are available quicker, facilitating faster interventions. Finally, for healthcare professionals, having local access to pre-processed or AI-enhanced images can streamline their workflow, reducing the time spent waiting for results, and improve collaboration among medical teams. Right. So let's speak a little bit to the differences between cloud and edge. Edge systems and servers in medical imaging enhance the overall care delivery and improve data processing speeds, ensuring better security and privacy, optimizing resource usage, and supporting scalable, cost-effective healthcare infrastructure. They're especially beneficial for real-time diagnostics, improving the patient outcomes and facilitating more robust healthcare systems, particularly in a resource-limited or rural area. To speak a little bit to the benefits of edge over cloud, let's talk to cost. On-premise AI or edge AI offers predictable fixed costs because it eliminates variable cloud fees, providing a clearer long-term budget planning. With on-premise AI, organizations can also retain full control over their infrastructure from end to end, reducing the reliance on external vendors or potentially also mitigating cybersecurity risks. On-premise AI also ensures that sensitive data stays within the organization's physical infrastructure, and this offers complete control over data within data access and compliance. Finally, on-premise AI solutions are often tailored to specific organizational workflows, which makes them easier to integrate and use for internal teams across the departments. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some software solutions that you can utilize and leverage alongside your edge systems and servers. NVIDIA AI Enterprise Platform is just one of these platforms, which comes with pre-trained AI models for healthcare, including NVIDIA Holoscan and NVIDIA Monet. Let's speak to a specific use case within medical imaging analysis. We'll talk a little bit about AI-powered image segmentation and diagnosis. So both Holoscan and Intel Geti support AI models for image segmentation, classification, and anomaly detection for medical imaging. These models can identify critical features in radiological images such as CT scans or MRI images or X-rays. And they're able to segment organ or lesions and flag potential diseases early on, like cancer or stroke. The impact of this is monumental. AI-powered analysis accelerates the diagnostic process, reducing the human error factor and enhances the accuracy of image interpretation, leading to earlier disease detection and a more personalized treatment plan. To speak a little bit to these specific software toolkits, NVIDIA Holoscan enables real-time processing of medical imaging at the edge, using AI models to, as I mentioned earlier, segment tumors in medical imaging and provide radiologists with real-time feedback during the imaging process. NVIDIA Monet is an open source AI framework specifically designed for healthcare imaging, offering a suite of optimized tools for deep learning workflows. It accelerates the development of medical imaging models by providing advanced features such as seamless integration with GPU accelerated training, alongside pre-built models for 3D image segmentation. So think like blueprints. This powerful data augmentation technique provides pre-built models for 3D image segmentation and more accurate insights, enabling faster, accurate insights from complex medical scans like CTs, MRIs, PET scans, X-rays, etc. Finally, Intel Geti allows for easy deployment and training of custom AI models that can help radiologists identify early signs of abnormalities in imaging data. Okay, to talk to a specific scenario, let's discuss AI-assisted medical imaging workstation in a PACS environment. Before I get into that, though, a common question that might come up at this time is how do edge servers handle computationally intensive tasks such as 3D image reconstruction or segmentation? Edge servers are designed to handle computationally intensive tasks by leveraging specialized hardware such as GPUs or graphics processing units and TPUs or tensor processing units. These accelerators are optimized for parallel processing, which allows them to efficiently handle the complex algorithms needed for tasks such as image segmentation, anomaly detection, or 3D rendering. Edge servers can distribute these heavy computational loads across multiple cores or devices, ensuring a high throughput and real-time performance. Let's speak to this specific scenario. So here we see a scenario in which edge servers can live on various points in the PACS network to facilitate AI assistance in the medical imaging workstation. A PACS, or Picture Archiving and Communication System environment, is a comprehensive medical imaging technology system used for storing, retrieving, managing, and sharing of medical images related to sensitive patient data within healthcare settings. PACS is primarily designed to replace traditional film image systems such as X-ray films with digital images, which offers numerous advantages in terms of efficiency, accessibility, and the image quality. The three steps of this are data processing, AI training, and finally, diagnosis. Let's start with data processing. Medical scans such as CT and MRI scans are high in data volume and need an equally powerful server to be able to both process these high-resolution images and send high-load files along the network channel. Next, we have an AI model training workstation powered by software toolkits from NVIDIA to bring model training on the edge. These images are used to enhance the AI models to finally assist in the final process, which is diagnosis, and act as a supplementary resource to healthcare providers. So speaking of supplementary assistance to healthcare providers, another use case in the medical sector includes an AI chatbot that could potentially serve as a resource to healthcare providers looking for more timely and efficient diagnostic assistance. A common pain point that arises is the constraint on time for both patient and their providers. As patients come to detail their health concerns, there is a time constraint alongside for the healthcare provider who would hope to do a more comprehensive diagnostic analysis, but cannot due to time-consuming admin tasks and documentation. So here we have the edge server shown here, the Air 520. This would act as a liaison between the patient and the provider, allowing patients to accurately detail their queries, providing medication instructions, and identify key information to mention to the provider during the appointment, while also reducing the admin workload for providers, allowing them more valuable patient-facing time. This powerful server also has a multi-GPU acceleration architecture, allowing it to be a useful tool for LLMs or large language model fine-tuning and AI training. All right, so to summarize, the benefits of using edge servers for AI-driven diagnostic tools in hospitals include a low latency, local processing of medical imaging data, data security and privacy on the edge for sensitive medical images, and a more reliable and scalable edge infrastructure for the hospital. All right, thank you for your time. I'm going to hand it over to Eunice.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Okay, so thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Eunice, and I'm the product manager from the embedded IoT team from Advantech, and I'm in charge of the ARM-based solutions and also the display. So moving forward, I'll be talking about the ARM-based solutions and the displays that we can help to transform healthcare. So these are two of the technologies that is the mainstream technologies that is adopted for the embedded applications. So the x86 platform that is high performance and it is having, but at the same time, it is also consuming higher power. And but its capability of multitasking and also to complete the platform and the peripherals integration. And then on the contrary, for the ARM-based solutions, it is compact design, low power consumptions, and cost effective. And it tends to be implemented into the end point of the edge and also having the large number of the deployment. But each of them can only be controlling like one or two tasks, which is like controlling some of the I/O, that would be all. And then for the x86 platform, mostly they are leveraged into the upper end or the higher level of the applications because they are for more complicated function data calculations or the analysis like edge server. But because of the rapid high development of the IoT applications and the cloud native servers, that the huge demand we're seeing that it's going through the endpoint, and also the demands for the ARM computing is also moving, and also moving forward to gradually moving forward towards the upper end side of the applications. And then for the technology trends, we're seeing that there are some enhanced accuracy for the AI, that we leverage the AI to do some enhance the accuracy of the diagnostics and characterization of the disease. And also for the telemedicines, that people are more familiar with the
All right, there. I think we might have lost Eunice here. We're going to give her a second to refresh, see if she can get back on the system, and we'll hopefully be able to resume just a little moment here, and then we'll have Q&A in a few minutes after that, and then we will wrap things up. So I'm going to just keep an eye out and see if Eunice is able to rejoin us.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome back.
Sorry for the technology problem.
No
so
worries.
I'm now here by insurance part. So I'll keep going with mine. Okay, so
Eunice, I think you might be muted again. Afraid I can't hear you still. Try refreshing your browser real quick.
okay, sorry, I think I'm back.
There you go. We hear you.
Yeah, okay. So moving forward, I think I was just at the telemedicine. So for the telemedicine part, that I believe that after the COVID, that people are more like able to support able to support the remote monitoring and also the diagnosis, and also for the remote treatment for the patients. And also another one is the AR, VR in the healthcare. So with the AR and VR images bring to the surgery operation rooms, so the surgeons will be able to do it for the surgery preparations and operation. And also, we are seeing that some of the wearable technologies that is able to support, such as there are like more smaller devices that is working on with the wearable technologies. And based on these market trends, we're seeing some of the technology trends here. So the first one will be the AI-powered computing and some of the high-speed I/O requirements like PCIe's, 10 gig or 25 gig Ethernet ports, and also USBs, and also the big data connectivities for 5G and Wi-Fi, and also the data management securities and the advanced video streaming. So moving forward, since we have a lot of opportunities and also the trend of the technologies. So moving forward to the small devices. So I'm thinking that I would like to talk a little bit forward about the software architecture here. So for medical applications, we're seeing that for the QNX OS, that there are a lot of platforms that requires to use QNX OS. That is because that they're looking for a secured or low latency platform that is suitable for their applications. So QNX OS, it is a real-time OS with the redesigned microkernel built on the pillars of the high performance, effortless scalabilities, securities, safety, and also the real-time executions. So on the left-hand side, we can see that this is the architecture of the QNX OS that is built on the Advantech hardware. So for the orange part, that those are the part that is provided by Advantech. So as we can see from the bottom side, we have the Advantech loader, U-boot, which are the foundation of the OS. And also on top of that, we have the OS utilities, file systems, and also the Silicon Partners platform codes. And also Advantech added on some of the enhanced drivers like enhance the Ethernets, Wi-Fi, RTCs, and audios. And also we have the microkernel for the QNX on top of that, and all the way up to the application levels. So with all the architecture, we can see that it is covered by, we get you covered and under this secured and optimized OS platform. So the engineers will just have to focus on the upper layer of the application development. And on the right-hand side, we'll see that this is for some of the applications that requires for some of the applications that requires like AI applications that we also get you covered, that we have the ready to develop AI environment with the Edge AI SDK. So this is AI influence framework with the toolkits that is provided by the silicon vendor, for example, like Qualcomm. They have the neural processing SDK. NXP, we have the EIQ toolkit. So they are able to come up with some of the samples like object detection, pose estimation based on the ARM-NN, ONNX, OpenCV, or the TensorFlow frameworks. So moving forward, I would like to go through a little bit about the display. So these are some of the display technologies that we used to offer the better display solutions for the medical imaging applications. So the first part is the antimicrobial service coating, and also the 100% flat front design to be able to support and to avoid the bacteria breeding or the growing in the gap of the front vessel and the touch panel. And the second one is high brightness. So we do offer a lot of high brightness support, and also the diagnostic we can also customize for all of your diagnostic related applications requirements. And the third part is that for the optical bonding, we're capable of supporting the optical bonding. As you can see from the right-hand side, this is the comparison chart that we have. So without the optical bonding, you can see that the reflection losses is actually around 5% up to 20%, which is because that it is not only having the surface reflections, but it also has the interior reflections inside of the display and the air bonding portion. So with the optical bonding, you can see on the right-hand side, the reflection losses is reduced to lower than 1% of the reflection. So moving forward, I would like to talk about two of these share with you about two of the stories that we have. So the first one here is about the fluid management of endoscopy. So I believe that you will agree even more that endoscopy helps the surgeons and the clinicians to diagnose and perform the surgery, like some of the chirotherapies for some of the various kinds of disease in a proper and standard manner. So, and the fluid management for the endoscopy will be needed, and it helps a lot as during the endoscopic surgeries, the internal and the external surfaces will be exposed to body fluid. So that is the time that we have to improve the visibility. The fluid management will be highly related to provide some precise fluid pressures to push the some of the fluid into some internal cavities. So the IDOMX AM Plus Smart module with our 21.5 inch of the flat PCAP touch support is leveraged in this scenario. So for the computer on module, we have the reach IOs, including the USB, gigabit Ethernet connected to the peripherals. And for the MIPI CSI cameras, it is connected to the high definition camera. And also with the CAN-FD feature to be able to control the servo motors. And the platform itself is able to support 15 years of longevities. And also it comes with the QNX OS, so it is supporting ultra low latency. And as for the display portion, that it is the Full HD 21.5 inch PCAP Touch one, and it is 100% flat front touch and optical bonding with 7 edge of the surface hardness, tempered glass covered, and it is supporting a wider view angle for some of the better imaging. And then another one is that leveraging the AR, the augmented reality, the AR for the remote patient care. So as AR becomes more mature, the remote consultations and monitoring, the opportunity of leveraging the AR for the remote consultations will be opened. And then the client, the patients, that they can talk directly to the caregivers without getting to the clinics or the hospital. And then this kind of platform that through the AR, patients can see the real-time vision of the caregivers, and they can also see the real-world scenario, the surroundings which they're familiar with, so they will erase some of their nervousness. And also through the LLM model, that we can provide a more immersive, lossless audio assistance. And another important role play for the AR is also doing the patient education. So the caregivers can illustrate different elements, available therapies, and discuss some of the procedures after the surgeries in the earliest way possible. So the patient understanding can be enhanced, and they can be encouraged to be more active participating during their healthcare processes. And so by doing so, a compact, high-quality video decoding encoding platform and higher AI capabilities, the stable wireless connectivities platform will be required. So our AI on module, the X Elite platform, it is adopted in this scenario, and the AI capability is 45 TOPS, and it is also able to support 4K P60 EDP or DP displays, OS sensing, the ISP integrated, and also for MIPI CSI camera input support. So moving on, that covers all of my part today. Hope that is being informative. But if you would like to understand more of our Advantech's offering in terms of the medical applications and help you to transform your ideas into reality, we have one chance here that we will be joining the Med Device show next week in Santa Clara, California. So you will be able to visit us and see us in real person. And if you're not able to join physically, you can always suggest some local partners or local team members to join. So here will be the registration web page, and please feel free to use the 1055 promote code to receive a free expo pass. So that will be all. And then moving back to the Q&A section.
Yeah, thanks so much. We're running a little bit tight on time, so we're going to do a little bit of the lightning round. Let's try to keep the answers quick. And folks, if you haven't submitted your question from the audience, please do so now using the Q&A box. And luckily, our presenters can follow up on any questions that we're not able to get to today. So get those questions in. Let's do this first one. Looks like a good one for Jason. Jason, what is the life cycle for the AMD EPYC products?
Sure. Thanks, Jim. So for the AMD EPYC life cycle, that will be 7 years for each of the products that I talked about today. Thank you.
Okay, great. I got a question for Corey. Can Advantech bundle GPUs with your systems?
Yeah, absolutely. So we bundle a wide array of GPUs. So we have everything from full desktop PCI Express expansion cards for a normal system. We also do MXM graphics cards as well for applications where you need really tight integration and a really small size or high density type. So we can support a wide array of options there.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Next question, probably a good one for Sharon. What challenges might come up when you're deploying edge servers in medical imaging, and then how do you address those?
Sure. Yeah. So one of the main challenges when deploying edge servers in medical imaging is ensuring consistent and high performance data processing in diverse, sometimes resource constrained environments, like I mentioned earlier, in those rural environments. So to address this, edge systems need to be equipped with powerful GPUs or specialized AI accelerators to handle these complex AI tasks.
Okay, very good. Folks, take a look at the queue. There's a couple questions in. I want to see if anyone wants to take them, but I've got one for Eunice. What QNX version are you offering on your ARM products?
Oh, so that is a good question. So for the QNX version that we have now on the NXP platform is the QNX 7.1. So we have it on the i.MX 8 QuadMax, i.MX AM Plus, and also the i.MX AX. And we will be porting on the QNX 8.0 onto the i.MX 93, which is ongoing. So please stay tuned with us.
Okay. And then we've got a question here about, are any of these SOMs radiation hardened? That's a good question.
Yeah, so as far as radiation hardening on the system on module products, so it depends on which degree of radiation hardening you're looking for. So especially in the medical imaging space, we do a lot to manage the EMI and the noise environment with the system on modules, so to keep the image coming through nice and clean. But if you're looking more for radiation hardening in like satellite applications, that's a little bit more advanced, but something that we could look into depending on the project.
Okay, great. And then we've got time for one more question, and I'm going to wrap things up. And I hope I'm getting this right. How does upgraded SOMs, how do they stay capable with legacy peripherals, especially in communication interface speeds?
Okay, sure. So I talked a lot about PCIe Gen 5, that spec today, and the high bandwidth that it offers. But one of the benefits is that with SOM, you can express that PCIe that comes through the SOM like physically any way that you want. And any physical like PHY that you design around it is going to be backwards compatible. So if your device is PCIe Gen 3, it'll work just fine, but the speed will just be reduced to PCIe Gen 3 transfer speeds.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for your questions. And again, any questions that we weren't able to get to, we're going to follow up with email from our presenters. And if you are watching on demand, remember, you can ask questions as well. That'll go to our presenters and they'll get back to you. So if you enjoyed this webinar and you want to share it, as a reminder, this webinar will be available at medicaldesignandoutsourcing.com. You're also going to receive a link in your email that you can forward to someone you know who might also enjoy this webinar. So please share it around. And finally, thanks again to Jason, Corey, Sharon, and Eunice for presenting. Thanks to Advantech for sponsoring this webinar. And thanks to everyone in our audience for attending. We hope to see you soon again at another medical design and outsourcing webinar.